Yo, what's up, y'all? It's your boy, the Renegade Enigma, and I'm coming to you with the first episode of the All In podcast where I talk about everything AEW, All Elite Wrestling. That being Collision, Dynamite, and of course the pay-per-view. Now I'm recording this episode on January 3rd, 2026, and we're going to start this podcast off with AEW Collision, the first Collision of 2026. And as always, they start off the show with promos from everybody that's going to be. I really enjoy this about Collision. So first promo we get is by the timeless Love Bomb, timeless Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa. And apparently they're going to face Hyon, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, and Maya World. Then we have a promo by Christopher Daniels talking about his team, Skyflight, which is Scorpio Sky, and Top Flight, which is Dante and Darius Martin. So apparently Scorpio Sky had a match today against the Standard of Excellence from the Hurt Business, Shelton Benjamin. However, I don't know what happened. Apparently he's not medically cleared and he can't compete. So in his place, it's going to be Dante Martin versus Shelton Benjamin. So then Dante Martin pops up on the screen and he talks really good about Shelton, talks about how they've been in the ring together and how Shelton is possibly the best wrestler in the human race. However, as Dante put it, Dante is Inhuman, which is his nickname. Which apparently he has a tattoo that says Inhuman on his forearm. I've never noticed that. Looks pretty cool in my opinion. So there's that. Apparently he's a big Marvel fan, whatnot. If you don't know, there either is or was a team called the Inhumans in Marvel. Basically, it was like a knockoff X-Men. Then we go to a promo from Shelton Benjamin and MVP, and simply put, they're gonna do business as usual and hurt people, that being Dante Martin. Finally, we have a promo from Darby Allin, and he's gonna have a match against Wheeler Yuta from the Death Riders, because he wants to face Pac from the Death Riders. Pac's literally the only person off the Death Riders that Darby has not beaten. He's beaten Claudio. Of course he's beaten Wheeler before. He's beaten Moxley. He's beaten Garcia. And I believe he's also beat Marina Shafir. But that happened to be a mixed tag or something. He probably teamed up with Willow or something like that. So from here we start off the show. We're in the arena. Tony Schiavone welcomes us to the show. And he's of course accompanied by Nigel McGuinness. And they immediately go to the first match, which is from the Don Callis family, El Clon, or for the gringos out there, the Clon, which he is marketed in the whole gimmick is he is Hologram's clone. Which if you ask me is kind of stupid because right now Hologram is injured, so there's no point to this. They should have waited for Hologram to come back and continue this, because they started this whole clone thing before Hologram left with an injury. Anyhow, this is his first match, and initially I'm thinking, this is going to be crappy because I'm not a fan of Hologram. I do not like Hologram. Everybody rants and raves about how good Hologram is. There's a bunch of luchadors in that company that are way better than Hologram. I'm not a fan of Hologram. So I thought he's just going to be a carbon copy. Ironically enough, little clone gimmick. I like his gear, the black and red. The mask looks cool. His wrestling gear looks cool. I do not like his entrance gear though. The trench coat with a big C on it that lights up like it's a Jericho jacket. I don't like that. That's goofy. They need to get rid of that. Just wear your wrestling gear and go out there. Other than that, aesthetically, he's just fine. He literally looks like an evil hologram with a bunch of tattoos and all that stuff. So there's that. Also, I wish he would get away from Don Callis. I'm not a fan of him. I don't like anyone who's associated with Callis. They could be one of the greatest wrestlers alive, and somehow Don Callis sucks the life out of that person, and person's boring for that. I don't know, it's all about Don Callis. You get rid of him, all these guys will be fine. You can keep him as a crew too, just not with Don Callis. But I don't know, that's just my opinion. Quick note of something that's really funny and ironic. El Clon just debuted in the same arena, the same building that Hologram debuted in a few years back, which I want to say they said 2024. Anyway, El Clon he's going to face, from the Spanish announced project, Angelico, which of course his tag team partner, Serpentico, is out there with him. And I gotta say, like, I kind of like that Clone, y'all. Like, he's way better than Hologram in the ring. I don't know, maybe I gotta see more of him, because Angelico is really good too. Even though they got him on like the jobber spot, and like otherwise really, like, he didn't even get an entrance today. He was just there, the jobber. But yeah, I really like Clon. He's really great in the ring. Once again, better than Hologram. And for someone who wears a mask where you can't see his face at all, you can't even see his eye, he seems way more charismatic. I like that. Anyway, Angelico had some offense in this match. It wasn't a squash like I thought it would be, but he had some off. And came when Clon hit his finisher, which is apparently a spinning blue thunder bomb, which is apparently Hologram's finisher. Hologram been gone for so long, I don't even remember like what his finisher is like. Like I said, I'm not a fan of Hologram, so I would not know. But apparently Clon used his finisher. Anyway, Serpentico went to go check on his partner, Angelico, and for his troubles, he got his ass beat too by Clon. Clon, by the way, was out there by himself, so he beat both of them all by himself. In his corner, Don Callis with it. But then out of nowhere, Komander, or Commander, however you want to pronounce it, comes out for the save, makes Clone leave the ring, and he's basically in the ring checking on his boys. The announcers point out later on today, Komander has a match against another member of the Don Callis family, and that is Hechicero. The winner of this gets a title match for the TNT Championship, which as of me recording this, the person who holds it is Mark Briscoe. So now we go backstage to Jon Moxley, the new Continental Champion, who is talking about the tournament he just won, which is the Continental Classic. Side note, it's funny how Moxley is a face now, and apparently the Death Riders are all heel, so a beatdown is coming, y'all. A beatdown is coming. If they don't do it, like if they don't like kick Moxley out the crew, which by the way he's the leader, they don't kick him out the crew, like I don't know what they're doing. Like they better not make all the Death Riders face. That would be totally, maybe a few of them, like I don't know, Shafir, and I don't know, that's probably it, because like the rest of them are better as heels. Not that Shafir is not a good heel, great heel, but I don't know, she seems pretty popular, and she was the first member of this iteration of this crew. Because if you remember, originally they were the Blackpool Combat Club with Bryan Danielson and William Regal as the leader. Anyway, after he's done putting over the Continental Classic and everybody who was in that tournament, he puts over the Standard of Excellence, Shelton Benjamin. Apparently they have a match on this coming up Dynamite, and it's apparently going to be for the title, but I'm not sure if it's for the title. It might be just a limit, which basically is Shelton when he gets a title shot. That's the thing. We go back to the arena for the next match, and this threw me off a little bit. Like, I actually laughed at myself for this, because it's a Timeless Love Bomb's music, but first thing you see is Luther, which is Toni Storm's butler. Now the reason this is funny, because I could have sworn Luther was gonna wrestle him, because if you don't know, he used to wrestle. Funny enough, like connecting this to the last match, he actually was the original partner to Serpentico, and all three of them were the original Spanish announced project. Luther was actually known as Dr. Luther, and like he was like really psychotic and crazy. So yeah, we have that, but like that threw me off because I thought he's. Anyway, as I said, the next match is the Timeless Time Bombs versus Maya World and Hyon. Once again, I hope I'm pronouncing it. Anyway, Maya and Hyon had a little bit of offense, but of course the Timeless Love Bombs won the match. They celebrated in the ring a little bit. Maya and Hyon get back in the ring and shake the Timeless Love Bomb's hands. So no beef, like everyone's a face, everything's cool. So they're still celebrating. They're leaving the ring, they're on the ramp, when out of nowhere you hear Marina Shafir's music, who apparently had a match next. Meanwhile, Toni Storm is pissed off because if you've been following, a few months ago, Shafir and her squad at the time, which was Megan Bayne and the Triangle of Madness, took out Mina. Furthermore, a few weeks ago, Shafir beat up Mina, put on her finisher, which is called the Mother's Milk, and would not let her go. So Toni is still pissed off about this shit. So she's looking around to kick her ass. Because she doesn't come from like the regular entrance way. She comes from the crowd. Like as do all the Death Riders. The ring announcer announces that this is a tag team match. So apparently Megan Bayne is going to come out next. As Mina and Luther are trying to like push Toni Storm to the back. We go to commercial. And when we come back, as I said, we had Megan Bayne's entrance, who comes to the ring with the still injured Penelope Ford. Anyway, they're facing what I perceive to be local talent. Cause I'm sorry, I watch a lot of wrestling, but apparently not enough wrestling because I've never heard of these. You have one whose name is apparently Rachie Chanel, and then the other one is named London Dior. I believe those are their names. Apologies if I botched their names and like mispronounced them or whatnot, but that's what I heard. Anyway, this match was a straight mugging. These two young ladies got destroyed by Marina and Megan. Like, it was crazy. The end came when Megan picked up Dior, her finish move, which is the F5, while Marina was on the floor as she was doing this, laying down, talking about, give her to me. So she F5s her onto Marina, which Marina catches her and does her submission move, once again, called Mother's Milk. And yeah, that was the end of the match. The funniest part about Marina's finisher, like, it's so vicious, but at the same time, like, right before she lets you go, she gives you a kiss in the head, like, an actual mother, because, like I said, the move is called Mother's Milk. Anyway, after the match, Marina stands in the corner on the ropes, looking in the crowd, screaming, "Where you at, Toni? Where you at?" alluding to Toni Storm. So sooner or later, these ladies are going to go into it. Anyway, Tony Schiavone says there's a commotion in the back and you have to go to the back. All of a sudden, you see Josh Alexander talking, and I don't know, y'all, like, he looked high as shit. His eyes was like really dilated. He had a weird smile and all that. Like, I'd never seen this man like this, and I've been following his career for years. Like, he looked weird as shit. Like, no, get him away from Don Callis family. Yes, he's part of Don Callis. So, since I mentioned Don Callis family, in the background, you see Hechicero and Lance Archer in the background beating up a bunch of people. Anyway, Josh Alexander puts over the Don Callis family, talks about how Takeshita is going to successfully defend his IWGP title over in Japan, how Okada is going to defeat Tanahashi in his retirement match. Then all of a sudden they zoom out and you see he actually has somebody in the ankle lock as he's talking. Then he talks to Hechicero and tells him, go to the ring now, your match is about to start, and beat Komander, because if you beat Komander, you get to fight for the TNT title and bring more gold to the Don Callis family. Hechicero says this should be easy and runs to the ring. Meanwhile, you have Lance Archer. He picks up one of the guys that they beat up and literally tosses him into the ceiling, like busting a hole into the ceiling. That man dead. His catchphrase, everyone's gonna die. And I think that man died. We transition back into the arena and Komander is making his entrance. So this match was good, y'all. Great back and forth from whatever. Having that lucha style. Not only like the high flying by Komander, the straight up wrestling. By the way, I was today years old when I found out the reason Komander's name is Komander is apparently because he's the commander of the skies, according to Tony Schiavone. Now, that's the first time I've heard that. I may not have been paying attention, but that's the first time I heard. Anyway, right before we go into commercial, Hechicero does a running power bomb into the guardrail on Komander. Hechicero continues to whoop his Komander's ass, so eventually Komander gets the upper hand and hits a Poison Rana, which is basically a reverse for the Karana. He goes on the top rope. The referee's kind of distracted because he's looking at Hechicero when out of nowhere, a Clon, or a clone, however you want to pronounce it, shows up and pushes Komander off the ropes. The referee did not notice this. Komander is laid out on the corner, like standing up in the standing position, with his back facing Hechicero. Hechicero hits a running knee, quickly turns Komander around, runs back, and hits another running knee to Komander's face. Then quickly takes him out the corner and hits a flapjack. From there, he rolls Komander onto his back, then rolls him over a few times and puts him in a submission move. Or so you think, because then he rolls him over one more time, into a roll-up pin, and 1, 2, 3, your new number one contender for the TNT Championship on Dynamite this Wednesday, facing Mark Briscoe, is Hechicero. And I actually like this. I like Hechicero. And I'm starting to like Clon. Like, if anything, if Hechicero loses against Mark Briscoe, which more than likely he will, put him and Clon in a tag team and go for the tag team titles. Excuse me, I stand corrected. I had to go back and see it. Apparently the match is not going to happen on Dynamite, but it's happening next Saturday on the next episode of Collision. Anyway, we go to commercial, but right before we go to commercial, Tony Schiavone mentions we're going to have an interview with Eddie Kingston and the returning Ortiz, aka Monkey. I don't know why Eddie Kingston calls him Monkey, but that's what Eddie Kingston calls him. He calls him Monkey. And when we come back from the commercial break, we actually go into a video package for the former Acclaimed, Max Caster and Anthony Bowen. And this video package is hilarious. I don't know why they even broke them up. Like, keep them together. Yeah, like I loved all this. Like they're great separately. Like I love them both separately, but yeah, keep them as a team. It's one of those things. Like this is money right here. Like this segment was hilarious. I suggest everyone goes on YouTube and finds this and like watches it. The most hilarious line off the whole thing was, "He's not my partner." And if you know, you know. We come back and we have the interview with Eddie Kingston and Ortiz. Now, I could care less about this feud because if you don't know, and obviously you probably wouldn't, unless you're paying for it, this feud is Eddie Kingston versus GYV, the grizzled young veterans, James Drake and Zach Gibson. And the whole narrative is, or rather was, Kingston was all by himself going against the both of them. That's all fine and dandy. However, this feud started in Ring of Honor. And this is where my joke about paying for it comes in. Because you can't watch Ring of Honor unless you pay for their subscription service. Like, I don't know if it's an app or whatever the hell, but I'm not paying for it, which is called Honor Club. All I know, I'm not paying. Now, if you're not watching Ring of Honor consistently, why would you care about this feud once it bleeds into AEW? So now they have a tag team feud going on, which may or may not eventually be for the Ring of Honor tag team titles, because like I said, this started in Ring of Honor. What Tony needs to do, and by Tony I mean Tony Khan, he needs to put Ring of Honor somewhere where it's more accessible, be it YouTube, HBO Max, like the other shows when they are like live and whatever. Do something where more people can watch and keep up with the story. Because I don't know, I'll be watching and I'm like, okay, why is this person facing this person and why are they angry with each other? Oh, it's because it happened in Ring of Honor. The fuck? No. Anyway, they're getting ready for the next match, which is a tag team match. The former Jericho's Learning Tree, which is Big Bill and Bryan Keith, are getting interviewed by Lexi. I believe her last name is Near. The funniest part to this, like if you know like backstage stuff, Lexi's actually Bill's wife in real life. I was talking to Ryle Riper while this was happening, and I made the joke, hey look, it's Big Bill and Little Lexi. He laughed. Anyhow, they're gonna have a match against JetSpeed, the Jet Kevin Knight, and Speedball Mike Bailey. Anyway, Bill starts off talking shit about Eddie and Ortiz. Then they go into their opponents later. Now, Bryan Keith is known as the Bounty Hunter. Apparently someone put out a bounty on JetSpeed, and the commentators basically allude to the fact that it's probably two people. That being one, Don Callis, and oh my god, he's all over this damn show. And two, Ricochet. Ever listen to We Are Wrestling podcast? Yeah, I dislike him too. So JetSpeed made their entrance, and then Big Bill and Bryan Keith make their way to the ring. Big Bill needs new music. Like, I seriously hate his corny. Also, pet peeve of mine, when you're a team, you need a tag team name. As of now, they don't have a tag team name. They used to be the Jericho Learning Tree, but Jericho apparently is no longer part of AEW. He's going back to WWE. But give him a name. Look how easy it was for JetSpeed. All they did was combine their nicknames. It came out pretty good. Like, call yourselves like Big Bounty or something like that. Because one's the Bounty Hunter and the other one is just Big Bill. There you go. Big Bounty. JetSpeed started off really good, but then Bill and Bryan got the upper hand right before the commercial break. Big Bill is kicking Kevin Knight's ass at this point, but then he gets cocky, makes a mistake, and Kevin Knight goes for the tag. Simultaneously, Big Bill gets a tag to Bryan Keith, So your legal men at this moment are Speedball and Bryan Keith. Speedball gets the upper hand, beats Bryan Keith's ass, pins him, but Big Bill gets in the ring, picks Bailey up, and tosses him like he's a child. Bill and Bryan go for their double team move. There you go. You could call him Bill and Bryan, or B&B. Anyhow, they go for their double team move. They hit the double team move. They pin JetSpeed, but Kevin Knight recovers and breaks the pin. Bryan Keith and Speedball, they're fighting in the middle of the ring, going toe to toe. Like, it was awesome. It reminded me of those old martial arts, whatever. A lot of choreographed moves, really cool. I know people don't like choreography in wrestling, but this looked real cool in my opinion. The end came when Speedball hit his moonsault / double knee type move. I forget the name of it, but I think it's pretty much his finisher. Big Bill is trying to get in the ring, but Speedball kicks him right in the face to stop him. Kevin Knight is in the corner. Speedball quickly jumps on the top rope, simultaneously tagging. Then he does a moonsault to the outside on Big Bill, while Kevin Knight is climbing the top rope and does his, what they call a UFO splash, which is basically a 5-star frog splash. And then you have 1, 2, 3, your winners here, JetSpeed. So sadly for Bill and Bryan, they didn't get their bounty. JetSpeed are celebrating in the ring when Big Bill gets back in the ring, but JetSpeed basically like hauled ass and left the ring. They didn't want none of that. Anyhow, after the match, we transition to the back where we have a promo by GYV. Again, the grizzled young veteran. And they're talking mad shit about Eddie Kingston and Ortiz. Talking about how they're street rats and all this stuff. You know, the typical stuff you say to them. And they basically accepted their challenge. Now, where this match gonna happen? Again, I do not know. Because once again, this started in Ring of Honor. So it could be next week's Collision. It could be this coming Wednesday's Dynamite. It could be on Ring of Honor. Hell, it could even be on AEW Dark. Because apparently they brought that back. Who knows at this point. We come back from commercial and we get a video package showing the whole history of that 4-way from the last pay-per-view, whatever, with MJF, Samoa Joe, Hangman Page, and Swerve Strickland. How Hangman and Swerve wants another shot at the title and they want MJF. However, the former champion Samoa Joe says that's not for them, it's for him to have. And Hangman and Swerve basically says, fuck all that, on Dynamite, we will team up and handle business. Just give us Powerhouse Hobbs and Hook in a tag team lights out. And I don't know y'all, because it's going to be on Dynamite, so I don't know how far they could go. But in the very least, at least during pay-per-view, when it comes to matches like this, where it has the whole anything goes motif behind it, Swerve and Hangman has went in with the violence, especially against each other. Because if you don't know, these two men weren't always friends. I wouldn't even say they're friends right now. They actually had a blood feud. What's going on now, because of that blood feud, they basically have mutual respect for each other. I wouldn't say they necessarily like each other, but again, the mutual respect is there. Plus, they have common enemies. And you know that saying, the enemy of my enemy is actually my friend. So they're teaming up for the common goal of going for the AEW title. However, I see it a little differently. They're going to let other stars shine, like MJF and whatnot. And these two are going to remain a tag team. So don't be surprised if they wind up being AEW Tag Team Champions. Because I don't know if anybody remembers this, but they are former AEW Tag Team Champions, respectively. Hangman Page is a former Tag Team Champion with Kenny Omega as part of the Elite, and Swerve is a former Tag Team Champion with Keith Lee, who is not wrestling at them. God knows what is wrong with him, but he's not wrestling at them. Funny enough, both of those teams broke up and had a feud against each other. In particular, Hangman and Omega for the AEW World Title. Anyway, we're back in the arena, and we're getting ready for our next match, which is from the Hurt Syndicate, the Standard of Excellence, Shelton Benjamin, accompanied to the ring by MVP. And for those of you that don't know, Bobby Lashley would normally be with them, but as Vile Viper would say, Bob Lash, he is injured right now, so he's going to be out for a while. So that's why basically Shelton is running solo. And he will be facing a member of Skyflight, that being Dante Martin. Oh, excuse me, as he said earlier, the Inhuman Dante Martin. And he's accompanied to the ring by his manager, Christopher Daniels, and his brother / tag team partner, Darius Martin. Or so that's what the announcer said, because Darius went straight back to the back and Christopher Daniels remained there. And once again, Dante Martin is a replacement because this match was supposed to be against Scorpio Sky, who is not medically cleared. There you go. Match starts and Shelton is really cocky and confident and all that because he's way bigger than Dante and way stronger. So really the only way for Dante to win this match is using his speed. You can't go toe to toe with Shelton. He's too strong for it. At one point Dante tried to do a running clothesline, which he actually hit Shelton with no effect. Didn't even phase Shelton. He didn't care. So he did, as I said, he started using his speed. He did a flip, and then he did a head scissors, and Shelton is outside the ring at this point. So Dante tries to go for, I guess, a dive or something like that, but Shelton ain't slow either. He has some speed on him too, because he quickly gets back in the ring and does a shoulder tackle. Anyway, later on in the match, Dante goes for another high risk move, but Shelton was also too fast for that, and he pushes him off the rope to the outside. Apparently he hit the guardrail and he hurt his ribs. And I feel like it was a real injury. This wasn't fake at all, because he started pointing to his ribs. Christopher Daniels checked on him. The referee checked on him. And like I said, he started pointing at his ribs. The doctor went to go check on him too. And 9 out of 10, when the doctor checks on you, it's a real thing. But from here, we go to commercial. When we get back from commercial, the match is still going. Shelton is still beating his ass. Dante had a little comeback, but you could tell he's hurting. As he's running, you could see he's in pain. So he really did hurt us. He had a slight limp or something like that. He wasn't running correctly. I don't know how to explain it. You would have to go on YouTube and actually watch the match, or if you have HBO Max, watch it on HBO. But he goes for a crossbody or something, and Shelton catches, and Shelton does a backbreaker. So they show what happened during the break, and you have MVP on the mic telling Dante, yo, stay down, kid, stay down. You don't want no more. You don't want to get hurt. You already messed up. Chill. You don't want any. Just call it a night, and no one will be mad at you. That's basically. From here, Dante gets the mic, and he's Shelton, yelling at Shelton. He's hey, listen, my mama ain't raised no bitch. Did yours? And that was wrong fucking thing to say, especially to shit the fuck. The kid got hurt, but no, you should have done. We go back live to the match, and Shelton is still kicking Dante's ass. Dante gets a little bit of offense on him, but it's pretty much hopeless from here. He's obviously hurt. He keeps grabbing his ribs and whatnot. Also, he's limping, so I think something's wrong with his leg also. He does put Shelton down, and he climbs the top rope, and I don't know, this was stupid. Your ribs hurt. He does what appears to have been a weak ass frog splash. He couldn't even do it correctly. I think he was trying to protect himself, because yeah, you're gonna hurt yourself on that one. You should have went for a leg dropper, nothing that you're gonna hit your ribs with. He pinned Shelton, but obviously Shelton kicks out. But you know what? The kid is still going. He's still keeping up with the offense when he's obviously hurt. Dante tried to do what appeared to be a head scissors type move or something, but Shelton reversed it into a powerbomb. So Shelton's back on top, and he's basically channeling his inner Brock Lesnar, because it's Suplex City, bitch. Because he hit him with 3 German suplexes, then he hit him with a rising knee, whatever. Then he hit him with a super kick. 1, 2, 3, done. Your winner here, because he hurt him, Shelton Benjamin. So after the match, MVP gets back on the mic and gives Dante Martin all the credit in the world. He tells the fans to cheer for him because he deserves all the respect in the world. According to him, as soon as Scorpion Sky heard that he had a match against Shelton Benjamin, he basically chickened out and called out for work and said he was sick. So, he gave all the props to Dante for at least accepting the match and continuing the match after he got hurt. Shelton actually picked up Dante and shook his hand. Basically you did good, kid. And they left the ring. By they, I mean Christopher Daniels and Dante Martin. MVP is alright, now that we got all that out the way, let's get back into business. He says, let's give a round of applause to the standard of excellence, Shelton Benjamin. MVP says, now Shelton doesn't need me to talk him up, but he is one of the best in the business. Which is true. I believe he's one of the best. that has ever been in WWE that never held the WWE or World Championship. Comment down below and tell me if you agree with that. He says this brings us to like a little bit of business, and he talks about Jon Moxley, the AEW Continental Champion. MVP gives Moxley credit, like he came up and like he won that Continental Classic. He is the champion, beat all those other contenders. He says, however, all Mox cares about is making a revolution. Him and Shelton don't give a damn about it. All they want is money. He tells them that we know you like pain, you like to bleed, but you are not the apex predator. He tells Moxley he's like a real dangerous man, but he's driven by ideology. He's driven by emotion. He wants to show everyone that he is the man, AEW. He says, but you are not Shelton Benjamin. And Shelton Benjamin is way more dangerous than you. He says, Wednesday night on Dynamite, Moxley, you will be hurt badly. And you know why, Moxley? He tells the crowd, tell him why. And the crowd starts to chant, we hurt people, we hurt people, we hurt people, like the song says. He says, we are the Hurt Syndicate. This is Shelton Benjamin. And on Wednesday night, you are gonna lose because we hurt people. Now, I didn't mention this earlier, but apparently they're making a big deal because on Wednesday, apparently JR is gonna. So I guess some people are excited for it. Me, not really. I grew up on JR, like in my teen years. So I'm like, really don't care. It is what it is. But I'm excited for y'all who are excited for him. So that's the thing. But then we transition to an interview that apparently happened earlier in the day, which was a face-to-face with Bandito, the Ring of Honor World Champion, and Sammy Guevara, one half of the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. You see what I'm talking about, y'all? Like, we have champions here, quote-unquote, from a different company. What the hell? Like, if either one of them loses this title, you wouldn't know or care. It's just all of a sudden like a surprise. Oh, they lost it. What the hell? Like, the funniest thing about it, Sammy was Tag Team Champions originally with Dustin Rhodes. Dustin got injured, Sammy went heel and joined forces with Rush and joined the LFI. Now apparently Rush got injured, so now your new tag team champions are Sammy Guevara and the Beast Muertos. So yeah, you see what I'm saying here? Like, if you didn't pay attention online or you don't have the app or whatever, you would not know any of that. Sammy's partner keeps changing. Like, why? So they're doing the interview and like weird thing here, like Sammy all of a sudden has this fake Latino accent. Now, for those of you that don't know, I myself am Latino and it sounds so freaking fake. Now, he's also Latino, but the man doesn't know a lick of Spanish. Me, I know Spanish. Yo sé español, yo sé hablar español. Bien poco, pero sé hablar español. Y entiendo un poquito. Anyhow, you know what I mean? Basically what I said there, like I know how to speak Spanish and I understand a little bit of it too. But anyway, Sammy is upset with Bandito because apparently Rush got injured in a match against Bandito. Bandito also defeated the Beast Muertos, so Sammy wants revenge. He says from day one, he said he wanted to be a world champion. So I guess this match is going to wind up being for the Ring of Honor title. He tells Bandito, what do you say? Do you accept my challenge? Bandito replies and tells him, why are you so angry, amigo? If you want a title match, all you have to do was ask. You got it, amigo. So he gave him the match. Segment ends with Sammy saying, you are not my amigo. It's kind of funny. He's also rocking like a weird mustache too. Like everybody makes fun of Dominic's mustache. Sammy's mustache is way worse. So yeah, that's the thing. So we go back live in the arena and the camera's on Tony Schiavone and Nigel McGuinness, like the announce table. And he talks about how at World's End, Stokely had got injured during the match, which was FTR versus the Gun Club or the Bang Bang Gang, whatever you want to call them, Bullet Club Gold, whatever, which was a Chicago street fight, and it was for the tag team titles. Stokely took a crazy ass spot where he basically missed the table. He was supposed to go through a table. He missed the table, overshot it, and hit the guardrail. Damn near like cracked his head open. Tony confirms that Stokely got seriously injured, and he has a message from Stokely that he has to read off. In the letter, starting from the beginning, Stokely demands that Tony reads this letter out loud with the fans in complete silence. You know that, and anytime you tell the fans to shut the hell, they don't. Stokely says, I appreciate the thoughts and prayers, and for those of you who mocked me, you're dead to me. He says he's been receiving the best care in the Vivian Banks medical center. That has to be a fake place. Like, y'all tell me, is that a real place? Or like, isn't Vivian Banks the mom off of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Like, tell me that shit. Like, the name sounds familiar. Yeah, that can't be. He says he has been so courageous that they nicknamed him Little Lashley. Like Bobby Lashley? What the fuck? Even though I am the stronger one. Really? What the fuck? He says he's been receiving the best care and his medical bills reached $400,000. He says, see it in your heart to please donate. And then he says, see Tony Schiavone after the show for more details. Mind you, Tony Schiavone is the one reading it, and him himself, he said, the hell? Like, I said that. He says Tony has nothing to do after the show and it's his drink anyway. Might as well make him, wow. He says, God bless everyone. Signed, Stokely. Nigel McGuinness says, sounds like the same Stokely to me. Anyway, after that, they run down everything that's going to happen on this coming Dynamite. And that Sammy Guevara versus Bandito match is going to happen on. And then they repeated the fact that it's going to be Hangman Page and Swerve versus the Ops, Hook and Powerhouse Hobbs. And of course they talk about Jon Moxley defending his Continental title versus Shelton Benjamin. And if I didn't mention it before, this is eliminated. Meaning if Shelton wins, he gets another match and it's going to be for the title. Once again, they confirm next week's Collision match, which is Mark Briscoe, the TNT champion, going against Hechicero since he won tonight's match. But then we prepare for the main, which is Darby Allin, the Death Riders, Wheeler Yuta. And then from here they go to commercial. We see a video package of MJF reintroducing his custom AEW World title, as he calls it, the Triple B. I hate that belt, yo. Y'all tell me, is it just me or is this belt ugly? Like, I hate it. If you like it, let me know. Anyhow, they show that, and then they show all the challengers that are gunning for MJF right now. You have Kenny Omega, you have Hangman, like I said earlier, you have Swerve, like I said, you have Samoa Joe, like a bunch of people gunning for. Also, you have, and I didn't mention it earlier, you have Bandito, which is the winner of the Dynamite Diamond Ring, which MJF knows a lot about because he's won it a few times himself, which basically gives him the right to face MJF for the title. Now, it'd be really funny that, and I'm going to use the WWE term, it'd be funny that he cashes in on MJF, wins the title and all that, because that's basically MJF's MO, using the Dynamite Diamond. Like, if Bandito uses that during their match and wins it, that's like art right there. Payback on MJF for everything. Anyway, Wheeler Yuta makes his way to the ring, and yeah, they need to change that music. But he's accompanied to the ring by Marina Shafir. I mentioned that because that's going to come back later, and that's going to be something. So then we have Darby Allin's entrance, and the commentators are talking, and all of a sudden we hear Jon Moxley in a comment. We have that. Jon Moxley's watching this match. And this is a weird thing for a Darby Allin match. Like, they're just straight up wrestling. Like, no, like, nothing violent and whatever. They're just straight up wrestling. An actual wrestling match. You know what I'm saying? That's uncommon for Darby. But mind you, the match had just started. At one point, Darby sends Wheeler to the outside, and he tries to go for some type of dive or something. But Marina stands in the way, like, to protect. Like, Darby just stops. Yeah, so Darby jumps out the ring and tells Marina, get out the way. As he's saying this, Wheeler's right behind her and smacks Darby right in the... And from here, Wheeler has the upper hand. Like, he's actually kicking Darby, surprising. Going in, I thought this was going to be a squash. Real shit. He's going to squash him and something was going to happen at the end. Like, it's going to be like a really... But as of now, Wheeler's actually winning. Darby started to get the comeback. He beat up Yuta, gets in the top rope, is about to hit the coffin drop, but Marina Shafir gets on the apron and distracts Darby, and basically Wheeler Yuta pushes him. Yeah, Wheeler's back in control. Wheeler actually does a neck breaker onto Darby from the top rope while he's standing on the apron, onto the apron. And apparently Darby just coming back from a man that's had so many injuries, like it's hard to keep track what injury came. Wheeler throws Darby back in the ring and continues the offense. And Wheeler's looking really strong, like during all that. He's actually kicking Darby's ass. Doing good. Once again, they go to commercial, and I believe this is their last commercial break. Darby finally gets his comeback and starts to kick Yuta's ass, and yeah, this match is going back and forth. Like, I didn't think it would be this like long. Yuta's doing really good. He's really impressing. In this match, Wheeler again rolls out the ring. Darby goes for another dive, but gets tripped up by Marina. He turns to Marina, and Wheeler attacks him again. So now, Wheeler is back on top. Finally, the referee catches Marina cheating and tells her to go back to the back. Marina's like, nah, I ain't go. You can't make it. And she just stands there on the rampway, where out of nowhere you see Toni Storm running from the back to attack Marina and take her to the back. So while all this is going on, from the crowd, while Darby's outside on the other side of the ring, you have Daniel Garcia come in and attack Darby. He hits him with a clothesline and throws him right back in the ring, so Wheeler could kick his ass some more. Wheeler hits a move, which I believe used to be his finisher. 1, 2, and Darby kicks. Yuta and Garcia look at each other all surprised, what the hell just happened? Moxley's on commentary, screaming at Yuta, keep on, keep going, keep attacking him. And then, while all this is going on, they promote the show on January 14th, which is going to be the episode where MJF defends the title against Bandito. So as this is going on, Yuta, in frustration, climbs the top rope. Yuta goes for the swan dive and totally misses because he moved out the way. So Moxley's upset with telling him he should have kept on him. It was a ballsy move, but he should have kept on him. Wheeler rolls out the ring, and once again, Darby starts running, try to go for the dive, and he finally hits Daniel Garcia with it. And he takes out Daniel Garcia. He gets back in the ring because Yuta is on the other side of the ring. Quickly runs to the apron, but Yuta is already on the apron. They run toward each other, and Yuta hits, I forget the exact name of it. I want to call it the Psycho Knee, but it's basically what Bryan Danielson / Daniel Bryan used. And he basically takes out Darby. Darby's laid out on the floor. Yuta's laid out too, but he's laid out on the... Anyway, Yuta rolls Darby back into the ring, tries to pin him. 1, 2, and once again, Darby kicks out. Wheeler starts to give Darby elbow shots over and over again, over and over. And at this point, it looks like Darby is, Yuta is kind of cocky right now. He actually even looks at Moxley thank you. He grabs Darby's legs, and he goes for the Scorpion Deathlock, which is Sting's former finish move before he retired. As we all know, Sting was Darby Allin's mentor. So in honor of him, he uses the Scorpion Death Drop and Deathlock for his match. Sometimes are his finishers. I don't remember the last time he used any of his own finisher to finish up a match. Lately, he's been doing... Anyway, Wheeler has him in the middle of the ring, and Sting being Darby's mentor, I guess he taught him how to get out the move while teaching him how to apply it, because he actually reverses the move. Wheeler does a slingshot to the corner. Darby saves himself and does a stomp onto Wheeler in his ribs. Darby climbs the top rope and hits the coffin drop. Then he goes out on the top rope again, hits another coffin. He goes for the pin. 1, 2, and Wheeler didn't kick out. Darby just picked him up because he wanted to continue beating on him. Now, he threw him back down, right? And he applied the Scorpion Deathlock himself. However, he tripped and fell to the side, and he had him in it. Now, I'm not sure if this was done on purpose, it's his own version of it, his own version of Scorpion Deathlock, he'll probably rename it later, or it was an accident. That looked like it hurts a lot. It looks like an Indian Deathlock combined with a Scorpion Deathlock. And immediately, Yuta taps out. You hear Moxley and commentator, damn it. You clearly hear him say, damn it. It's kind of funny. So as we're about to go off the air, Tony Schiavone says Khan just announced for next week's Dynamite, or rather this week's Dynamite, is going to be Toni Storm, good lord, there's a lot of sentence, going against Marina Shafir. Then once again, they tell us what's going to happen next week on the show. And then once again, they tell us what's going to happen on Dynamite. And we're off the air. And yeah, y'all, at this point, this is where I basically review the matches and basically score this episode of Collision. The first episode of Collision in 2026. So first match, Clon versus Angelico. Solid match. I really like, they just gotta get rid of that goofy Jackie. Once they do that, he should be, but it was a good match. Then you had the Timeless Love Bomb versus Hyon. The match was okay. It was a match, as I would say. Nothing special. It was okay. The only good parts is what happened with Marina and Toni. Speaking of Marina and Toni, Marina and Megan Bayne, Dior versus Rach Chanel and London Dior. Again, it was a match. It was okay. Really didn't care. Then you had Hechicero versus Komander for the #1 contendership for the TNT title. Banger rematch. I like this one. You had JetSpeed versus Bryan Keith and Big Bill. this match was okay. Like, probably was the worst match of the night, to be honest with whatsoever. Then you had Shelton Benjamin versus Dante Martin. This was another banger. I kind of want to see how it would have been with Shelton Benjamin versus Scorpio Sky. Anyway, that's what it's supposed to. I kind of wanted, but this was another banger. Like, I'm hoping Dante is not injured, because if Scorpio Sky is really like that badly injured, and then Dante really like badly, the only ones you have left is Darius, and you can't really do much with. And then you had the main. This match was okay, like better than just saying it was a match. It was good, wasn't great, but I would say a typical Darby match. But like, Darby like didn't die here. As Viral Viper would say, you know, Darby likes to die. Like, he really wants to die. He calls it death match. But that's not what this was. In the beginning, like, he actually was wrestling. It was okay. If I were to rate this whole show, maybe a 7. Like, it was okay. Especially it being the first one. Nothing really that special. It was okay. But yeah, if y'all agree with me, you know, put in the comments or whatever. If you disagree with me, also put it in the comments. Like, let me know. Interact with me wherever this goes. But yeah, y'all, that was my review of AEW Collision, the first one. And yeah, until next time, y'all. Peace.